We're back for another one. We have another beer review. Gonna do two tonight. This is one of two. Um, Something new popped up in the NSLC, so hey, I'm gonna review it. It is Schoolhouse Brewery here in Windsor, Nova Scotia. This is their Too Cool Cold IPA. So there you go. 6.5% alcohol by volume. This is water, barley, wheat, corn, rice, hops, and yeast. What is a cold IPA? Generally, an IPA that is fermented at lager temperatures, thus cooler. Although that the opposite can sometimes be the case, but one of the big standout characteristics of these is they usually use adjuncts that lighten the body and make it more crisp. I think in the case of this one, they actually use Pilsner malts. I think they say that here. Do they? Yes. Well, no, they say Pilsner fermentation. And so sort of the idea is you try to get a light, crisp, lager like body. So whether you do it with the adjuncts or the way you ferment it, and usually using lager yeast as well to do that, or you can do both things. It's going to lighten the body, going to make it very crisp, very drinkable, very crushable, but it's going to also keep the alcohol at the level of a regular IPA or even higher, and you're generally going to get a really intense hop taste. That's kind of what they're going for here. So a way to really showcase the hops, but to make it like a really crushable IPA, basically. Which, when you're still keeping the alcohol that high, might not be the greatest idea. Who knows? Let's just show Schoolhouse and see if they have this listed on their website real quick. Share screen. Sharon. All right. Sharon! Just go to the shop. Beer and seltzer. Okay. I've had Recess Pilsner. I've had Principal Ale. I think I've had Martok IPA. I've had Vice Principal IPA. Too Cool for School. I assume that's the same thing. They've just, you know what? So this must be the old label. Too Cool for School. Maybe they figured that was a little too much for some people to pick up on. Okay, because it's just too cool now. So it says blends old school of new, crisp, clean Pilsner fermentation. Like I was saying, West Coast hops, classic C's, joined Strata and Crush hops. And I'm not going to get into tasting notes. I guess if you buy 12 cans, you can get a Schoolhouse cooler. Okay. But the classic C, so it's probably what? Centennial. My mind is blanking right now. But they're going for West Coast style here, so we'll see. We shall see. Let's pour it. Let's see. So it's probably going to look a little bit lagerish too, and yes, indeed, it is. A little bit hazy, but you kind of amber golden straw, somewhere in between there kind of colors. Definitely could be a Pilsner, although a Pilsner you would expect to be clearer than that, but that's nitpicking. Go the aroma. So Citra, Centennial. What else would be in this? It's amazing. You do all these beer reviews and stuff, and you say the same fucking things over and over again. You're always, oh, this hop, this hop, this hop. And then there's just one night where it's like, I can't remember the names of any hops. Unless they tell me on the can, I can't remember the names of the fucking hops. So there's a good little bit of caramel coming out from the malt. Usually the grain bill, if you're doing this to like lighten it and make it more crisp and more Pilsner like, the adjuncts you're using, generally rice and corn, which they say is in this. And it's usually like 20 to 40% part of the grain bill, I guess. So like a lot more than what you might usually have. Usually you probably just wouldn't have any of that in there. It would just be straight up, barley. But yeah, I'm getting a little bit of grassiness, a little bit of caramel. Mostly a very integrated like grapefruit kind of thing going on, and maybe a little bit of kind of a mango-ish, just slight on the edges, kind of mango-ish kind of thing going on. But it's like a nice muted grapefruit that's kind of like really integrated in with like the grain smell coming out as well. This smells very good. Anything else they say on here? Goes great with hamburgers, sausages, and salads, I guess, because they got the little pictograms up there. I know my camera can't really focus on that too well. It's like 720. I guess I could go 1080 and I might focus, but whatever. Whatever. I'd like to know what strata and crush hops are. That would be interesting to know. Should have looked that up beforehand. Oh well. Cheers. Smells good. Let's go to the taste. Okay, yeah. Oh, that's unique. So immediately the first thing you notice is the crispness. That it's got a much more lager-like body. It's very crisp, very to the point. Comes out in the finish, kind of snappy. It's very light and drinkable. The grapefruit is there in the background with that sort of mango-ish like undertone as well. And generally mango and grapefruit go pretty good together. I find like a mango taste or a guava taste or something like that will typically cut into a grapefruit pretty well. Taste and sort of take that grapefruit note down quite a bit. And it seems to be doing that here. You get a little bit of the graininess, but not a lot. It's much more about the hops, which is what the style should be. I definitely say it's got that intensity that you expect from like a West Coast. And that, this isn't a double IPA or anything like that. This is like a standard 6.5% West Coast IPA. And the bitterness level, the intensity of the hops is pretty much where you want it for like a single IPA, standard IPA. Finish is nice and dry. Again, crisp. Makes you want to take another taste right away. So it's doing all the things. It's checking off. There's a flavor here I'm not getting. I'm not understanding what it is. I'm getting a nice little array of flavors here from the hops, but I'm not understanding. Maybe it's from these two hops I don't know. The where are they? Strata and Crush. Okay, you know, since I've already tasted it and given my tasting notes, let's just go into the actual like tasting notes they put on the can here. So they say hit of grapefruit, yes, got that. Cannabis, okay. Mango, I got that. Guava, all right. I can say that. And then it goes on about the light pilsner rice malt base. Yes, you definitely get that. Um, and they say this hybrid is almost too cool for school, and definitely this is kind of a hybrid style, right? Um, Cannabis, okay, I can kind of see that. I can kind of see that in that strange flavor I'm getting. This is kind of a dry vegetal thing that I'm not quite as familiar with, but mm, all right. You know, this is really good. It's tasty. As far as hitting the different points on what the style is supposed to be, like I said before, pretty much hits them all. I mean, actually, it does hit them all. So, um, this is probably style wise, probably a 9. Um, it does all the things, you know, it's kind of sitting on that edge where it's like, oh, if you did something just maybe a teeny bit different, that's like mind blowing, then maybe you're in the 10 kind of range for actual style. Personal preference, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 7.5, and I'll just like expand on that a little bit. Um, it's an excellent beer. It tastes great. Like I said, style wise, super high marks. 7.5 for my own personal preference on this because I prefer a specific kind of West Coast IPA. I mean, it's got the intensity, it's got, you know, the clear, precise hit of hops and everything like that. It's just the hop flavors are not 100% what I'm on board with. And I don't hate any of the hop flavors here, don't get me wrong. It's just I'd rather have more grapefruit. I'd rather have more like Simcoe, get a little bit of that cat piff in there, baby. Get some of that. Dusty Rose loves the cat piff in his beer, baby. Um, but you know, like Simcoe, Centennial, um, bring out the grapefruit, bring out the pine, bring out those almost some people say like onion kind of flavors in some hops, that sort of onion hop burn. I'm all about that stuff when it comes to a nice West Coast, and also with a West Coast IPA, I'm expecting like a big malt kick too. I'm expecting like a big bouncing like uh, caramel malt kind of kick to it as well. And you don't really get that here with this. I understand, you know, that's not the style, but when you tell me West Coast IPA, kind of like somewhat in the style, like this hybrid ale that's doing a West Coast IPA in the flavor profile, I kind of expect a little bit more from the malt base. I understand they probably can't do that here because they have to lighten it all, but it's still like, you know, when it comes down to personal preference, I likes what I like. And I just happen to like a true West Coast a lot more than this. But, you know, this is fine. This is excellent. 7.5. That's a high mark for me. Um, I'm definitely going to rebuy it, I think, because it works pretty well, does all the things it's supposed to do. It's just, you know, there's some better West Coasties out there that are true West Coasties, you know, at least in style. But yes, this is actually really good. Schoolhouse Brewery, Too Cool, cold IPA. I'm starting to warm up the cold IPAs a little bit. You think I'd like them a lot more, especially because this is doing sort of West Coast IPA, but it's got like those Pilsner characteristics that I'm also really big on. But for some reason, this doesn't quite gel 100% here with me as far as personal preference. But, you know, style wise, like I said, again, 9. So, but 7.5 for personal preference. Still an excellent beer. Totally recommended. In NSLCs now, grab it. All right. I'm getting out of here. Thanks for watching. I got one more beer to do. I'll be back in a little bit. Bye-bye.